I think everybody talks about the importance of numbers, right? So the story is this. They went out to an EO event, and then someone was saying, hey, you know what, you only have to work like a certain amount of hours a year, right? But then they also claimed like 40 or 45% of those very few hours, you got to be reviewing your financials, right? Like almost half the time. So here's the guy who said, hey, you know, you only have to work like 100 hours a year, but more than half the time you got to be like reviewing your financials. You're reviewing the numbers of your business. But then the struggle is, what numbers? Like, which ones do I review? And then more importantly, how do I get them?
Yes.
How do I get them? And I think that's a real struggle, because the gap is that even though as entrepreneurs, as CEOs, we have all these resources, right? We have Scaling Up, we have EO, we have all these tools that we're learning to better run our business. The accounting industry, the financial industry, which drives most of these numbers still in most businesses, are still very backward, very 100 years ago. They do nothing else. They don't really understand a small business. They don't really understand what the CEO need or the language of business to really operate and navigate. And that's a struggle. That's a real struggle right there.
Yeah. So how did that get fixed up? Did they realize that you can't just show up for a few hours a year and spend it all the time looking at your reports?
I think so. It took a long time, right? I think it took a long time. And I think a lot of CEOs talk about this, right? The way they learn it is that, when we know this, we talk about shiny object. We go out to an EO event, we learn something, we come back out, and then we want like, oh, I'll implement this. And our team knows this. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna sit on this for a little bit until you forget about it, until the next new shiny object, right? And cash forecasting, or you know what we are calling, I measure and had cascading metrics. The idea is that you can't just be a CEO pulling everybody to try to get these financials, get these numbers, get these forecasts, and it's a team effort.